What, Wade?
Toy Story 3. The enthusiasm. The room is thick with enthusiasm. All right, it's been a number of years since Toy Story 2, and Toy Story 3 really actually picks up in real time, to the point where Andy, who owned all the toys and still does as the movie begins, he's grown up. He's graduating from high school, he's going on to college. And the question at the beginning of the movie is, has he outgrown the toys? It's a big question. Is he still going to, does he want to keep his toys, or is he going to donate them to a daycare center or put them in the attic? And the toys desperately still want to be played with, and they haven't really reconciled themselves to the fact that Andy's outgrowing them. And of course, what happens is, yes, the toys wind up going to a daycare center, although not really for the reasons that they think, and the daycare center is more like a prison. Let's see a clip.
Here we go. There should be a little hole under the switch.
Little hole. Got it.
So reset your Buzz Lightyear, insert paperclip.
Rex, use your finger. Okay, now what?
All right, let's see. Caution, do not hold button for more than 5 seconds.
It's not my fault.
Bitácora espacial. Me he despertado del hipersueño en un planeta extraño.
Now what did you do?
I just did what you told me.
Estoy rodeado por criaturas extrañas y desconozco sus intenciones. ¿Quién anda ahí? ¿Amigo o enemigo?
Amigos. We're all amigos.
Me debo de haber estrellado y se me ha borrado la memoria. ¿Han visto mi nave espacial?
We gotta switch him back.
It's great. It's terrific. Now, here's the thing. Now, we saw it on different days. You did not see it in IMAX 3D, but you saw it in 3D.
I saw it in regular 3D.
Regular 3D. I begged them and pleaded with them to let me see it in 2D, because everyone knows I really thoroughly loathe 3D, and they said, well, no, we don't have that, so here, see it in IMAX 3D. So
it's even worse.
So yeah, it's even worse. So I had to see it in IMAX 3D, which is basically just shoving you right up to the front of the screen. And despite the fact that I thoroughly hate seeing movies in IMAX and hate seeing movies in 3D, and this is just excruciating to have them both rammed in my face at the same time, I still managed to really enjoy the film, though I would still contend I'm going to enjoy it more tomorrow when I actually do see it in 2D. So, but it's a terrific film. It keeps in line with everything that the Toy Story films have established. It's a brilliant script. It does some very clever things, introduces some great new characters. Ned Beatty is fabulous in this. The casting of Ned Beatty, you'll never know it's Ned Beatty. You'll never know. But he's great.
Michael Keaton, too.
Michael Keaton, terrific as Ken. Michael Keaton as Ken. Really some terrific new voice talent. And I have to say, it's faded a little bit for me. I don't have the same kind of lingering enthusiasm for it that I did after Toy Story 2. But it is so good. It is so in keeping. It so completes the trilogy. That it's great. They had a huge order to fulfill, and they delivered.
I agree. I think it's terrific.
Yeah.
I think that maybe what you're responding to is the fact that even though in the film Andy's going to go away to college,
yeah,
and what's going to happen to the toys, in the end they still manage to manufacture a plot that depends on getting back to Andy's place. It's another how are we going to get back to Andy's place sort of a story.
It does what sequels need to do. Bad sequels just repeat what the previous film did. They get into a mindset, oh, there's a formula, the audience responded to X, Y, and Z, so let's just redress X, Y, and Z a different way and hope that they kind of respond to it the same way. Good sequels say, you know what, we can't replicate that. So let's take the characters and let's move them forward. Let's nudge them into a different dilemma that is still in the same universe and still in keeping, but it's an evolution. We've moved them forward. And what they do here is they move them forward. I mean, the question of what happens to toys when a kid is too old to play with them, how are they fulfilled, is really very much in keeping with that universe. And it's the one question the previous two films didn't deal with because they couldn't deal with it. So we've had enough years transpire and people have enough distance from the first two films that as audience members we can relate to that as well, because we probably feel a little bit the same way about the characters in the movies. Are we sick of them? Are we a little tired? Are we used to them? So it's something. It's very smart. It's really well written.
But also, this film has a certain universality to it because, again, as people, sometimes we outgrow relationships or whatnot. So there's this.
I've outgrown this one just during this show.
You know what? I'm out. I'm done. The show is done. So I mean, I think people can relate to it on a deeper level than they could on the other ones because, again, when when a relationship ends, that's very sad, and the end of the film is sad.
Yes.
And it does feel like it's the end, as opposed to something like Shrek 4, where you do feel it's the end, but you do feel like if they really wanted to, they hedge their bets. Whereas here, you feel like it ends on a nice little bow, really well done.
And one comment on the clip as well. You know, you don't see films, animated films with subtitles. Anybody ever seen an animated film with subtitles? Okay, it's a gutsy move because a lot of the kids going to this movie don't read yet. You're going to have 3- and 4-year-olds who are going to need their parents to explain to them what the subtitles are. And that says to me that they said when they were conceptualizing it, you know what, we're not going to make a kids film, we're going to make a family film. We're going to make a film for everybody, a movie that adults love as much as kids, because that's the heritage of the Toy Story films, which is adults love them for one reason, kids love them for another. It's like the Bugs Bunny cartoons that we grew up on, and a lot of people grew up on, which is you love them for one reason when you're a kid, and when you grow up, you see it and you see a whole different layer of things that you never appreciated as a kid. So they're in keeping with that, and I think it's very smart. They didn't pull their punches.
Well, also, I think all the Pixar films have this, they have this knack. The scripts are tight, and they're jam-packed with jokes, and most of them hit, and there's something about the way they construct those scripts that it's always a winner.
And the character stuff is really a mile a minute. I mean, there are lines in the first two films and in this one. You need to see it multiple times to catch it, mostly with Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. I mean, there are some smart, sharp lines that they whiz by. You know, I got to look for my other eye, and all the things they're very, very sharp, witty jokes. And everything fits together just beautifully. And the one thing they started in the first Toy Story film was this screenwriting trick, and it almost gets overplayed in this. They almost do it too much, but it's a screenwriting trick where you invent a dilemma and you seed a solution to that dilemma that the audience thinks is going to work, and it winds up not working. And in the first film, it is, of course, the match, right? The match in the back, and then we got to light the thing, you light the match blows out. Oh, well, now how do we light it? We thought you were going to light it with the match, and now we're caught in this place where we don't know what you're going to do. And they come up with something so diabolically clever we never could have imagined. They do that in this film like 4 or 5 times. And it's great, and it's really, really remarkable. It almost is too much. It's maybe one of those too many, but the fact that they can still cook those up in a believable, incredible way blows my mind.
Yep, it's great.
Yeah.
Toy Story 3 is just terrific.